Welcome back to Naval News, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the story of two frigates, one coming out of Taiwan eventually, and one that's being designed in Poland. But all things are not going well for our first project today. So credit to navalnews.com for both of our stories. If you want more stories like this and more detail on the stories that we're going to briefly cover today, go to navalnews.com and check out all their news. Really good website. I check it every day, and I find the things that are interesting to me and bring them to you. But there's a lot more going on at navalnews.com than what we talk about here. Credit to the author, whose name I'm going to attempt to say is Zoe Jui, last name Husu. So sorry if I got your name wrong there, but credit to the author out of Taiwan. He says, Taiwan's new domestic frigate project hits a roadblock. According to local media, Taiwan's projects to build a new 4,500-ton new generation frigate has stalled due to budget issues. So there may be more to the story than that, but we're going to read what the story is and then see what we can glean out of this. The Chinese Navy, or the ROC, Republic of China Navy, announced in 2016 ambitious plans to build ships and procure weapons and equipment, including a missile frigate. According to June 2017 report, the ROC Navy communicated the requirements to shipbuilders and said the frigate would displace 2,500 tons. For some reason, the tonnage was important to them. I imagine whenever you design a frigate, you would normally look at the capabilities and requirements, what mission is it going to perform, what equipment will it need to perform that mission, and kind of figure out the displacement after that. But for some reason, they went in displacement first and then put the weapons and stuff on it. And that might be the first sign of trouble. Maybe they're designing this invertedly, right? Anyway, back to the piece. However, several Taiwanese media are reporting that the frigate project is not going smoothly because of the science and technology. Taiwan state-owned corporation has not been able to develop a compact AESA radar system for the ship. And there have also been media reports that the ROC Navy has been considering the purchase of foreign combat systems. Well, the Chinese claim that they've got an AESE system. Maybe you could buy it from them. All right, that's probably not going to happen. The Americans certainly do one. We even, I believe we sell that technology to or lease it to Japan as well. I don't see why we wouldn't do so to China. But they're trying to develop their own. So kudos to them for that. But when it's holding up your ship since 2016, so that'd be 6 years at the time of this recording, maybe it's time to outsource that module so it doesn't hold up the entire project. Now, in December 2021, UDN reported to the ROC Navy that it was considering building 8 light frigates with a displacement of 2,500 tons, much smaller than the original idea by 2027, just to respond to the Chinese threat. And this has a lot to do with their current fleet of ships, the majority of which are old American warships from the Cold War, over 20 years old. And so they need something new, whether it's fancy and 4,500 tons and AESA radar, they just need to get something built because the older ones are getting harder to maintain and aren't keeping up with technology, So here's a drawing, an artist rendition of what the ship may look like when it's done. Pretty standard fare for any modern warship these days with, a gun, a helideck, a small boat capability with some weapons midship. Those are usually anti-ship missiles, and a VLS ranging from 16 to 32 cells. Again, this is not the design. This is the idea of what this ship will look like whenever it's done. And they're saying this thing right here is what's holding it up. It's this, S-band, X-band, AESA radar modules. They're not able to build them small enough, apparently. However, the Chief of Naval Staff, Shang Shenhu, told legislators that the frigate project would be postponed. Maybe postponed, rather. The Budget Center for the Legislative Yuan said that the Navy has returned more than 90% of the budget funds it secured for the frigate between 2019 and 2020. So, there's no financial problem there. It looks like they've given the money back. So at least the money's accounted for. And we'll see how they're going to go forward. I mean, now that they've returned the money and the project is stalled, what's the next step? Maybe they just build these smaller ships for now and then figure out what they're going to do. Something that's on the table is they could lease and build copies of our new Constellation class frigate, the one that we're building over here in the United States. Again, untested platform, brand new ship with some new technologies on it, but at least the design's done for you. You get through that phase pretty quick, and then all you got to do is build it. In April of this year, 2022, Liberty Times net quoted several legislatures and defense experts calling on Taiwan Navy and NCIST to resolve the issue as soon as possible. LTN told the large surface combatants will be stronger and have more air surveillance capabilities than smaller boats. So they still want to build the larger ships, but they don't have the design apparently. You can't blame a supply chain either on the design. It doesn't take, you're not collecting parts yet. You're just planning. And so I don't see them using the supply chain breakdown as a real problem, especially since the majority of the microprocessors that are in use today around the world are made in Taiwan. A large majority of them are made there. So they don't have that excuse. Now, the supply chain is much wider than just one component, of course, but that's a key component, so they don't have that. Here's a picture of some of their older ships. These are based on the Kid class here. Here you can see the rail launchers on the bow with a deck gun. And two of these. Yeah, these ships are like 25, 30 years old, I guess. Let's see what the piece says. It's currently the Republic of China Navy has a surface fleet composed of 4 Keelung class destroyers, formerly American Kid class. Then they have 10 frigates, which are licensed Oliver Hazard Perry class. So they have a history of doing this, taking American designs and either, buying and leasing the ships or making them themselves. I think in the case of the OHP, they just took control of the ships after they were built. That's my understanding anyway. So they have a small navy with only about 4 large surface combatants. The rest are pretty small ships, frigates and below. But the point is, here it is. Of the 26 large surface combatants that they have, most of them are more than 25 years old. And 6 of the Yang class are between 47 and 51 years old. So that's almost useless. You can't tell me, unless it's like a Coast Guard cutter that doesn't, stay at sea for very long periods of time, just, in and out, that it can operate for more than 50 years without, just massive amounts of maintenance to keep that going. So Taiwan's new project, not going too well. We'll keep an eye on this and see what they come up with. I suspect that they'll reach out to their American friends and maybe secure a lease contract to build maybe the Constellation class, maybe a Taiwanese version of the Arleigh Burke like Japan does. Japan's Congo class, pretty capable ship. Maybe they'll go that route, but we'll see. We'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments too. Let's take a look at Poland real quick. So Poland's designing a brand new frigate as well. And here's a visualization of it right here. It's not an actual picture. It's a computer render of the Babcock's Arrowhead 140PL design, which was chosen by Poland's Swordfish frigate. That's going to be the name of the class, is Swordfish procurement program. Was unveiled last week. The story again from navalnews.com. Credit to the author is Typhon Osberg. So credit to him. Good job writing this awesome story. He says on April 8th, the PGZ group unveiled the first drawing of the Arrowhead of the 140PL. There you go. It's right there. It's very similar to the Royal Navy's Type 31 frigate, but optimized for Polish Navy requirements, which that could be more littoral environment because of their coastline, Baltic Sea and all that. The PGC collaborate with 3 main companies during the project. Babcock is responsible for the design and enabling the know-how. That's quite a bit. So they're going to own the intellectual property for sure. Then Talos UK will undertake integrated combat systems for the frigates. They make great combat systems. Anytime, in my opinion, you put Talos equipment on your ship, you're getting a good product. It may be expensive, but you're going to get a good product. And then MBDA UK will provide the weapons and missile systems. So these major defense industry contractors will work together and build this ship. And here's a picture of them at the presentation, going over what major phases will it go through, from design to procurement to construction to testing, standard stuff. But really good. Apparently no hiccups, no holdups yet. It's still very early in the project. The Taiwanese project is 6 years old and has gotten almost nowhere. This project has just been unveiled. Hopefully they don't run into any major problems either. Let's skip down to the end of the story and see if there's any details about this. It looks like we got some here. According to information revealed by the conference attendants, the frigates will be 138 meters long, almost 20 meters wide, and 5.5 meters deep, displacing 7,000 tons. All right, that's a good size ship. That's a beefy boy right there. Max speed 28 knots. Range of at 18 knots is going to be 6,000 miles. So she'll be able to stay at sea for long periods of time. 6,000 miles will get you where you need to go. Frigate's armament will have a quad SSM launchers, as well as a 15 Mark III or Mark IV RBSs. Let's see, the Arrowhead is equipped with a 32-cell VLS, so we already know how many VLS it's going to have. Again, this is all early days, right? So the design, as far as I know, is not complete and authorized. But this is what they're thinking. And so maximum load on the VLS will be 128 CAMM missiles. Illustration indicates that the new frigate will be armed with a 76 millimeter gun and 35 millimeter guns. Oh, multiple guns. Nice. Let's see if, oh yeah, got some nice pictures here. So a really promising design for Poland. Yeah, we'll see what they actually come up with. So